Okay, here's that second matrix. I broke it into a second video just in case you thought, oh, I got it the first time, but if you need this, here's an extra one. So the second one is 2 by 3 and 3 by 2. So remember what we're looking for is to make sure these match. They do. If these match, then the new matrix will be the size of this many rows and this many columns. So the new matrix is 2 by 2. So this one doesn't have as many entries to fill, which is nice, but we have to do a little more calculation per entry because basically now I'm going to have to take rows and columns, and I'm going to have 3 entries in each when I take rows of the first and columns of the second. So let's look at those. So basically, just like before, I'm going to take the first row and match it with the first column. Now, the issue here is now I've got 3 entries. So notice I got these 3, and I need to do like before. I'm basically going to match them up with these 3 in the same order. So the 2, 4, and -1 get matched up with the 3, 2, and 5. I multiply and then add everything together. So I'm going to take the 2 and with the 3, 2 times 3 is 6. I'm going to take the 4, 4 times 2 is 8, and then I'm going to take the -1, and -1 times 5 is -5. So I'll write one calculation down here. The rest I'll just talk through. But so 2 times 3 would go here. So I'm going to calculate down here. 2 times 3. 4 would go with 2. So I get 4 times 2. And I would get -1 times 5. Now what's the result of this? I'd have to add them together. I get a total of 6 plus 8 plus -5, so that's going to be -5. 6 plus 8 is 14. 14 minus 5 is 9. So once I get that full result, the result of the first row with the first column comes out as 9. So then in the first row, this is the first row and, first column of this matrix, this entry gets a 9, all right? So I continue doing this. So I'm not going to show the rest of the calculations. I'll just talk through them. But now I have to do the first row, second column. And then I'll go on and do the second row, first column, so on. So you need every combination. So let's do the first row, second column. So if I do that, first row, second column, I'm basically going to take 2 times 1, which is 2. 4 times -1, which is -4. 2 minus 4 gives me -2. And then -1 times 2 is another -2. So that's going to give me a total of -4. So just to go through that again to make sure I'm correct. 2 times 1 is 2. Minus that 4, plus a -4 is going to give me -2. And then I'm going to subtract. That's going to give me another -2. And I'm going to get -2 more, which is total of -4. So it sounds good to me. Just doing it on the fly here. But, if you need a calculator, do it in a calculator. But there it is. That's the first row, second column. So I go to the first row, second column, and that's its entry. All right, so now I need to do the second row, first column. So see if I can find that green marker again. Now I'll move on to the second row, first column, and perform the same kind of calculation and try to make sure I'm correct when I do it. So here's the 3 values. They're going to match up this way. So -2 with 3 is -6. 0, 2 is 0. So -6 plus 0 is still at -6. And then 3 times 5 is 15. And -6 plus 15 sounds like I'm going to get another 9. So this value is also 9. And then lastly, I have to do the last row with the last column. So second row, second column, we'll put the answer on that dot. Let's see what happens. Second row matched with the second column. So the -2 with the 1 sounds like -2. Once again, the 0 is going to just keep that multiply, it gets 0. So I'm still at -2. And then 3 times 2 is 6. So -2 plus 6 is going to give me a total of +4. So I have some somewhat repeated values on here, 9s and 4s, but there it is. So if you multiply these two matrices together, this is the result. It's a 2 by 2 matrix with these entries in it. All right, so hopefully between that first example and the second one, you get the idea what's going on. I believe the one that's on your homework assignment because I just gave you one to keep it short of one of these. Is very similar to this one. I think it's the same kind of sizes. It just has different numbers in it. All right, but keep in mind, in case you see it in your future somewhere, they can ask different, like this one, they can ask different sizes. You just need to know the basics of doing it are, first, make sure that these match. Is basically, like in this one, there was 2 entries and 2 entries. If this had a different number of entries than this, I wouldn't be able to do it. So the row number of entries and the column number of entries have to match. Then after that, what do I get? Well, I get the matrix this size because all of the rows of this matched with all the columns of this basically give me the answer for each row and column of the new one. All right, so then they just have to know how to perform the calculation and then how to fill everything in. So these are just 2 different examples. They can really ask any size matrices so long as these 2 things match. You'll be able to fill in the new matrix using this process. All right. That actually ends our unit on matrices. Like I said, due to the COVID shutdown, we kind of just did a survey of things. So this should be enough that if you ever, if you're in college or, you take an AP course next year and they pop this in, you at least know it exists and you've seen it before. So what we've done is the 2 and 3 variable systems, how to solve them with a matrix, and just how to do a couple matrix calculations. Just in case you pop into a course where they require that you calculate these. I said I didn't give you really any context for it, but if you're really that ambitious, you could look up how these are used. There's actually a lot of different uses for matrices, and like I was mentioned before, physics and computer science, and even things outside of that, statistics, things like that. Even non-math subjects. I mean, these are used in physics and things like that. All right, so this unit's over. We have 1 unit left. At this point, I'm not quite sure when school's going to end, but we have enough time to put in this last unit, which is on something called limits, which is especially useful for you guys who are going on, if you're either a senior who's going to take calculus or a junior who's going on to AP Calc next year. This next unit is kind of a bridge between pre-calc and calculus. So if you're not going to take calculus, sorry, it's in the course. But if you are taking calculus, it's kind of an essential thing to start off your next course. All right, so that ends this video, and it also ends this unit, and then hopefully we can do one last unit and end the year. All right, bye.